And we are live. Just making sure. Welcome back, everybody. Dirk the Red Panda here with the Hayseed Knight. So this time I decided to kind of change up the, not change up the pace, but change things up because we've been playing like 4 straight episodes of Tennis Ace. Like it's probably about I'm trying to think, 2 hours, 2 hours, probably about 10 hours total worth of like streaming Tennis Ace, and that can get pretty repetitive and dull if Tennis Ace really isn't your thing necessarily. So yeah, I decided why not do this, and like I said in my description, it's the only game that I haven't played through the entire Roots update. Like, I don't think there are too many other alternate routes that I could have been on for this, so it seems like what I'm doing for this is just kind of a linear story so far, but supposedly Sandra, the creator of this game, says that this game will deviate in chapter 2, like deviate in terms of routes. So let me get to the loading screen and hold on. Burping off screen to be polite. Nah. Not calling out anybody, sorry. But yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because I had made like a few decisions about whether or not to color just C for Sep there. That's why I have 4 instead of like 2 now. Shoot. I'm like, where are we now? I swear we passed this part. But let me see. And so the days passed. Okay, so the top right one here is the one that we're on. Why did I do it like that? That's so dumb. Did you draw your own art for this channel? Yes, I have. So this thumbnail, not thumbnail. Names. Pretty much my screen that's to the side of the gameplay footage is like something I completely drew myself. So I drew that. I drew the background art for like my channel profile. Yeah, pretty much everything now is my own art. So yeah, just kind of learning, going with things. Didn't really have too much of a person I took after. I just kind of was like, let me try and be like semi-realistic per se, but like totally failing at it, but enough so that it doesn't look like what I'm drawing is terrible. Yeah, so that's kind of what answers your question. So yeah, it's my own art. So yeah, without further ado, my typical 3 minutes of ranting before the video have ended. So without further ado, let's get into the reading. So the days passed.
These are some lovely taters, boss. Perfect potatoes. But I couldn't fit one more bite in my tummy if I tried. No, ma'am.
Aw, look how happy Anna is. A rare sight.
I'm just gonna take these home and stuff my face in front of Geoff later. I ain't sharing a single one with him. Nope. No way I'm giving all them taters to him or anything. Yep.
That's what you get for losing our bet money, Geoff. Not salty about that. So Anna was more than happy to collaborate in any plan that involved making life harder for the contestant to worst bard in Heirloom. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot how to pronounce this. It's been too long. Heirloom? Heirloom? I think it's Heirloom. I'm probably just gonna butcher this up, but contestant to the worst bard of Heirloom, but it's worth a shot. Oh, scene transition.
And that's when I told the king, bite me. You should have seen my father's face. His leaves dried right up. I spent a whole moon literally grounded.
Heirloom. Oh, heirloom. Oh my god, why am I just blanking out today? Now I'm getting the correction after I move on. So, heirloom. Heirloom. Okay. Making sure not to forget that for the next time, but thanks, Sandra, for the correction. It's always great to have the creator here to correct me.
What do you mean?
Oh,
You
wow.
don't remember who broke into the warehouse?
Oh, jeez. This is some new art. Pretty nice.
I don't know, Master. It's like the memory had vanished from my mind.
I'm gonna vanish you from existence!
Oof. Both deer began clashing horns while Adder and Illigrub stared at the scene.
Can you believe that?
I know! Can't deer go 10 minutes without starting a fight? No offense, kiddo.
Rip. Oh. Holy crap, a walking tree. Oof. Don't get any ideas, Jaro. I'm watching you. Alright.
No, I mean, can you believe he forgot someone that important just like that? Can people really forget?
Sorry, Adder, I don't have time to get into philosophical debates. Those two have just earned themselves a free ride to the dungeon.
Busted. Oh, wow. So much about the art update, too, like, also adds, like, kind of a new element to the game, I think. Like, you know, when you do that, get new art, you also change up the animation or the graphics for it sometimes. It looks really smooth. Just gotta say. So, the stroll took an unexpected direction towards the city guard's main tower in the northeastern quarter of the inner walls. It was the second highest tower in the city, with ceilings tall enough that Illigrub could walk inside. Adder had to go fetch Gyoff from there every so often, so he was relatively welcome as long as he had Illigrub by his side.
Take it to court next time. Street fights are strictly prohibited. Are we clear?
Salty prisoners. Both of the prisoners uttered a disheartened, "Yes, sir," and Illigrub nodded to himself.
Hey, Illigrab, I was wondering, you could throw anyone in the dungeon, right?
Anyone?
Well, I wouldn't say anyone, but I do have a pretty good grasp on Heirloom's populace, if I may say so myself. Hey, I could even set you up in a pretty cell, if you ever want to leave Gyoff's place.
At least he pronounced heirloom for me, so got that out of the way. But yeah, honestly, like playing this before, it's like, okay, I get you. The engine updated its graphics processing. Oh yeah, because it's the RMP engine. Yeah, honestly, I think a lot has changed between like old and new versions of, not just old and new, but just the versions of RMP as you continue. Like you see some people where they just stick to the default like menu or whatever formats of everything, and you could tell like when it was made, because like some of them just are completely different than like the modern like demos of it or whatever, where you go, wow, it looks much cleaner for somebody who has no experience with the graphics. So yeah, to have like experience with it just takes you way higher. But yeah, it's so smooth. So, and here's Jaro. Yep, our buddy.
I'm all good. I was just wondering if you'd seen never mind.
Never mind. What's that? Some kind of flower?
The prettiest in the kingdom.
Oof. Oh, Anna, what you doing here? Get the yeah. Clink, clink, clink with the hammer in Anna's forge. But there was another incessant noise. It sounded like the bellows that lit up the furnace. Its source was, of course, Adder looking out of the window, sounding like he wanted to empty his lungs. With a semi-nocturnal roommate and what may count among the 10 worst beds in the world, dozing off, spacing out, or generally getting distracted in his job was nothing out of the ordinary for Adder. Sighing, however, that was definitely out of the norm, and he'd been doing it an awful lot lately. Stranger yet, Adder hadn't noticed that Aina had been standing right behind him for quite a while now. Oh.
What? Huh? Hey, boss. I was just thinking about my things. You know, rivets and stuff. No worries, ma'am. I got this. I'm all focused now.
Thunk, thunk, thunk went Adder's hammer. And yet, Aina wouldn't leave his side.
Anything else?
Get close. Aina put a hand over Adder's in what may have been the most confusing gesture this side of Legzal. Hopefully I got that right. Adder looked down at it rather blankly, only to find that he was holding the hammer by its head.
Wowee, that's dumb even for me. You see my brain lately, boss? I don't know where I left it. Sorry, boss.
Oof. Clink, clink, clink went the hammers, and it wasn't reassuring at all.
Taters, huh? Sorry, boss. I'm not hungry today either.
Oh. The feels are getting more real. In the great realm of Akazor, where the very essence of reality was distorted to make flowers carry messages over the whole continent, and a single king had ruled since the gods fought wars in the skies. Adder not being hungry for half a moon didn't sound plausible at all.
All right. It ain't like I'm not hungry, Kay. It's just that... Look, boss, I don't mean no offense, but you ever tried one of these? I've eaten knuckles with more flavor in them.
There's this thing called cooking them. May help.
Nah, what am I saying? I know you wouldn't touch these with a stick. Your paw's sitting on a pile of Barhan gold. Who the hell wants taters when you can have figs and dates for supper every night? Am I right?
The merchant was filthy rich, and he would have indulged in such delicacies if he hadn't been too tired of his worldly life to bother chewing, and too cheap to buy actual food to fill the pantry. The cheapskates. So Adder's meager allowance came from Aina's own, totally legit, unspecified source of income which neither Illigrub nor Adder had probably ever thought about. But why this? Why now? When did Adder get so picky? He'd never had any problem eating the same stuff over and over before. He was thankful that he got to eat at all.
I guess it's time I learned my place and stopped drooling over all the fancy stuff I won't have again.
Where did he even get to try it in the first place? Alright, so I was reading one of the comments that I missed earlier from Doki Doki that said that the voice acting really enhances the immersion. And yes, it's definitely one of those things, like, as one guy narrating and like trying to voice act all the characters in my other novels, having a novel that has multiple people, multiple voice actors just doing different characters really does make it more authentic, because I can only have so much range with my own voice that, you know, you're gonna get to like some of my weaker characters for the voices and just not really get too into it, because it's like, how can I do, I'm trying to think, like Ichigo from Tennis Ace, like trying to do this high-pitched anime girl voice while I'm just some adult man trying to do it. At least with games like this, you get like people that are better, like physically built or like vocally built for these characters, or have the vocal training for it. Yeah, and like I said, Sandra once again does a great job compiling the people. They also voice direct them too, or at least help with some direction of it. So it's like not just them sending in whatever. It's like it's a very tightly knit thing, and it's one of those games where I just really appreciate the effort that goes into just every element of it. So yeah, just awing over Sandra while they're watching my video. Oh well. So restless, concerned, God's forbid, worried. These were all adjectives that clearly did not apply to Anna. Oh, that's so cool. So it is personally directing. That's nice. But for some reason, she kept passing a tiny, ugly potato from hand to hand as she stared at the city from her home, thinking about the small fortune it had cost. Someone, not her, but someone. You'd think that deer would have settled their capital in the beautiful prairie where they could graze free and indulge in hedonism. That the whole world looked something like the village Adder wouldn't shut up about. But no. A massive lack of foresight, coupled with Icaine's stubbornness and the insistence of their king, led to Heirloom growing in the middle of a steppe between the enormous lake of Zal and the Alar Sea. With barely any space for bush pens in the proximities, and fertile fields and a million souls to feed, food was neither cheap nor readily available in the capital, hogged by those that needed it the least. The 1%. Man, I'm digging this art though. Like, I think this is newer than the last version, like, or this is new to this version. But yeah, the map, it's all good stuff. Anyway, point is that Adder was a poor starving deer, and Anna wasn't willing to put up with this anymore. Find a cure, get him better food. Alright guys, I'll let you guys have some input on this. Where should we go? Find a cure or get him some better food? I'm trying to recall what I did last time. I think it was find a cure. I played like the ignorance is bliss type of card with it, but honestly, I could go either way. I don't really recall a right answer. Not that I'm looking for it. Just want to see what you guys think. All four of you. I get you guys. The true homies. Better food. He's a terrible cook. He doesn't cook, though. You talking about Shuichi? From Tennis Ace, if nobody knows. But yeah, I can't imagine Adder cooking. That would be probably a horrible sight. Alright, so any votes? Maybe. We're just in between the votes. Oh, I remember this last time, like, the find the cure thing was, like, something where she was in a library or something like that, so that was pretty good. If nobody's gonna vote, I'll probably go with find a cure. So I'm gonna give you guys, like, 30 more seconds. Probably gonna wait till the 20-minute mark. We're at 19 and a half minutes. So, how you guys' days going? Don't know what else to really do now. Should probably come up with more ideas to do things between these like voting moments where it's like I'm just sitting here waiting. Okay, so we hit the 20-minute mark and you'll meet a new character in one. I think I may have met this character in the one that I chose before. But if I get him better food, I'm going to try get him better food just to see what's different about it. Let's save just in case. Let's just double check. And resume. So yeah, just gonna save this as a new file once I choose this route. Oh. Nope. Gonna persuade me a little bit. Because I felt like there was somebody in the library when it was finding a cure, but if you're saying there's a new character, and I'm assuming it's new to version 4, why not do find a cure? We are going to find a cure. Some small maroon spots on the potato's skin alerted Aina that the potato she'd chosen probably wasn't in the best condition. As she was devising the punishment she'd bring upon the merchant that could have endangered Adder's life with diseased food, she had a small epiphany. Perhaps Adder wasn't being an imbecile. Perhaps he was just sick. Anna didn't have the foggiest idea. Oh noes. Is it too late? Okay, it did say the same. Let's just go back a few lines. That never happened. Saved by the creator. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the new one is, or the different route is. So, Adder had been working incredibly hard all year long. Maybe all he needed was some sort of encouragement. And what better encouragement than, well, the one he had... Oh, wow, I just totally lost my reading, trying to, like, look over what Sandra says. Oh, yeah, I can roll back with the mouse wheel. I'm not using a mouse wheel at the moment, but you have a back option on there, so luckily I used that. So, yeah, I should probably use a mouse for my other games like that if I skip a line, but too late for now. So Adder had been working incredibly hard all year long. Maybe all he needed was some sort of encouragement. And what better encouragement than, well, the one he'd asked for. But finding food in the city was absolutely out of the question. The moment it arrived, it was counted and measured, and Aina had calculated precisely how many potatoes she could acquire from each merchant before Illigra began glaring at her. She'd have to make a little trip. Ooh, this is a new look. I'm digging this. Aina mentally went over the list of her favorite weapons as she trudged through the narrow alleys that compromised the inner slums. Not because she was afraid, but because she was rather bored. The sun had just disappeared as Aina arrived at the gate of Karbasi? Wait. Gate of Korbasi. Or Karbaswi? Ah. Why am I so bad with foreign names? I apologize for my lack of culture. Gate of Karbaswi. I think it's Karbaswi. Let's just see if it's in the encyclopedia that was newly created. Locations? Maybe? No. Lore. Dictionary. Oh, gallery. Oh no. Return. That's cool though. At least we have a gallery. Oh, we return to the main menu. We can always look that up later. Where's Gordon Ramsay when you need him? Oh my goodness. So, So the gate of Carbasui, the northernmost entrance to Heirloom, and she soon left the walls behind. The grays, yellows, and whites of the city and the browns of the outer slums turned into a deep orange, interrupted only by the occasional shrubs sleeping in burrows and crevices. The stars shone high above, watched by the washed out orange mane of the moon that illuminated even the darkest night. It felt like the Achaean steppe was a monochrome as Aina herself was. The sound of distant laughter pulled Aina out of her thoughts. She crouched down and hid behind a rock, examining the distance. Oh, so much new art, or at least art that's new to me because I haven't played this option yet. A small congregation of merchants was sitting on straw mats by a bonfire. Their fur went from light brown to pitch black, and their bodies were thin with bigger palmed horns. Fallow deer from the north. Their huge grave pines, the biggest tree of burden one could find in Akazor, slept behind them, basking in the firelight as they breathed puffs of fresh air and warmed their leaves. Smoking that weed every day. Totally misinterpreted it probably, but their wares were unloaded around the bonfire. Carrots, apples, pears, salt rock, honey. Whoa, look at this. Aina stepped out from behind a rock, walking decidedly towards the group. The merchants all turned towards her, jumping to their feet immediately. Aina held onto her hammer, letting its handle bounce on her left hand. They all knew what came next. Oh dear God. Oh, there's a new character. Wow, look at those horns. There weren't so many people in the way. One of them raised a hand, stopping Aina in her tracks. She walked closer to the fire, revealing a face Aina was most unused to and horns that would have exterminated whatever remained of Adder's self-esteem. Oof. Hello, Dream.
Tasakirmat is a strange hour for boy of walk steep. More strange of walk with big hammer. Build house? Need help?
Aina stood in the spot, clinging to her hammer. The brutish, almost savage-looking woman had a reassuring look on her face. I'd be curious to see who voice acted, whatever our new character's name is. Because it's, to me, it has like a Latino sound to it. And I feel like maybe this person possibly could have done like maybe the Spanish voice acting, maybe. I bet it's different voice actors for like, there's 3 different versions or 3 different languages that this game is written in. But yeah, I'm curious to see. The merchants looked at each other and then at the woman, speaking in a language that Aina failed to recognize, but that sounded very close to speaking Bosaktet with a hot potato in one's mouth. Spanish like me. Hey. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this game is in 3 different languages in case English isn't your first language or you want to like have a immersion with this game in a different language. Like the creator of this game is Spanish, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's definitely good to see a game that offers multiple languages, because yeah, some people aren't gonna go out of their way to have everything in English or try and find like some kind of like Rempy hack or whatever to translate it or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty good. Got the A-OK on the Sandra is Spanish. So yeah, We are... Okay, so Ada failed to recognize, but that sounded very close to speaking Bossictet with a hot potato in one's mouth. One hurriedly uttered the word robbery. Another whispered the word golem, ambush, danger. This strange woman just shook her head.
Is cold boy? Is fire tea you want? We help. Food is of we, but fire is of sun. Tea is a friend. Sit with we is welcome. Weapon, not.
I see. Aina stepped a bit closer to the fire, revealing herself. She let her hammer fall by her side quite dramatically and stood proudly in front of them. Somebody's a bit pissy. The merchants nearly fell back at the sight of her teeth. Even the woman gulped audibly.
Is a strange girl? Boy? I say, I don't know.
Yeesh.
Angry at someone. Angry at I, please. No, bust it upset.
Gotta be careful about misgendering here. Angry at someone. Yep. Hannah is the most intimidating character in this entire novel so far. Just for anybody who hasn't been with us since episode 7 or 1. They're both the first episode for different versions. Fall of bad, assumed Anna. Switching back to her native tongue, even though it only sounded somewhat similar and made no sense whatsoever. Aina cast a long glance over the group. Just a bunch of deer and some kind of overgrown gazelle asking nicely to be left alone. They weren't worth her time. Aina picked up her hammer and made to leave.
Irup, ward your path home, stranger.
Irub, what a joke. Oh. No success. That's a bummer. But I'm glad we did that. Honestly, the library one was like a bit intense, I think, from what I remember. Or at least the character or whoever we met in the library was like very like hard on Anna, and it got a bit frustrating. Those are just remnants of what I remember, but this one felt a bit more right. Definitely want to see like Anna's nightlife for this. Because, yeah, we haven't seen that yet. So, a marine breeze blew over the streets of Earlham the next day, sweeping away some of the hot steep, as she pronounced it. Gotta get that correct now. Sweeping away some of the hot, steep dust that suffocated the city. Akazor was 2 moons well into dawn soon already, and it was coming to an end little by little. It was lunchtime, and Aina couldn't stop thinking about the previous night. She still couldn't understand why she couldn't bring herself to merely grab their wares and leave as usual. Maybe they weren't good enough, and that was her merchant instinct talking. Yeah, no. For some reason, she could only think of Adder chiding her and giving her a disappointed look. So, if he didn't want the usual, that was totally his fault. Alright, let's see. The sad part about is that after picking this option, don't have the really silly part where Anna tries to figure out what's wrong with... Oh no, I forgot about that. Shoot. There's always next time? Question mark? Oh well. Carrying a small mountain of uncooked misshapen potatoes, dried seaweed, and several bulbous roots, Anna made her way through the corridors of her home in search of her apprentice. Oh, I think we also missed out Anna trying to make like a soup or something like that for Adder, which probably was like also figure out what's wrong. Yeah. some interesting stuff. You could always reference my, what episode was it, like 3 or 4 or something like that? Or no, I did 3 episodes of chapter 1. It's probably like episode 4, I think it was, that I did the other option. So if it's the same dialogue and stuff, you can refer to that. So a cloud or two could be seen in the big blue sky, white and puffy, ought to conduct whatever business a cloud could have so close to her home. The once great temple of Arab, the abandoned residence of a god that left in a tantrum after the Barhan rebellion. Not the most elegant farewell, but her father always said that gods need no manners, and that old geezer clearly knew about that. The lack of manners, I mean. He knew a thing or two about gods as well, but he much preferred to spend his time cursing them for his longevity. Oh my god, he's like a Gen Z kid. Just kill me already. Oh, there he went with his usual friends.
Burn the Sippy! This time we'll get him for good!
Yeesh. I remember this. I kind of like this part.
Ada! Second-class daughter of a hero-praying beast! Quit whiffle-waffling and do something about this! I know you're somewhere around here, you fusty lugs! Ada!
Oh no! He's casting some kind of spell! Hurry up!
Oh, goodness. The father of the year right there. Next to, am I gonna say this and make this totally a dated joke? Daddy 05? Sorry, I had to say it. Ada just stared idly at the mob carrying her father away, off to a pyre that would forever magically fail to end the poor man's life. A question resurfaced in Ana's mind. It was Adder's, pondering aloud with whether Ana's father was hated a little more or a little less for purchasing and desecrating the temple of a god that most people despised anyway. She took a moment to consider this as she walked into the sunlight. The sun, it's so bright. Oh, sacrilege is kind of a global standard, I suppose. Oh. Yep, this is pretty much where episode 5 was, because I remember this being something about plate. So, just for reference, we probably got this and maybe like one more episode's worth of content left, so not sure if I'll be playing this all in one sitting. Cue Adder, moping all by himself in the courtyard. Ana tensed up her shoulders and stretched out the food plate, attempting to pass the dish as something casual that she didn't go out of her way and spend her personal earnings to buy. Look at her, so proud of those potatoes. Once more, instead of happily proceeding to choke on his payment for helping out in the forge, Adder took a long, empty look at the food. He sighed and looked away.
Sorry, boss. I'm not hungry.
Oh. So he said time and again during the last few moons, but Adder had always ended up giving up and eating, less and less every time, however. Ana waited patiently to no avail. Once she got tired of that, she shook a carrot in front of his face, hoping to stir his curiosity with his new shocking ingredient. No answer. So there she was, shaking a rattle in front of a giant one-eyed baby that refused to eat. Seeing that diplomacy didn't work, she poked his snout with said carrot. Oof. She poked and poked until it ended up in his nose.
You happy now?
Oh, that's nice. They even got the voice acting for that. I see. Ana's total desperation was purposefully ignored by Adder, so a poor carrot was snapped in two for his sins. It was at this point that Ana realized she didn't much care about why he wasn't eating. All she knew was that Deer had to eat, and he hadn't done so in a while. Oh, with all the delicacy her hands could muster, she opened his jaw and smashed a raw potato right in his mouth. Jesus. But something was wrong. He didn't overreact. He didn't even attempt to talk his potato and mouth dialect. He just grabbed the tubber and handed it back to Ana.
If you like them taters so much, why don't you eat them?
Ooh. Somebody's busy.
And now you're growling at me? What's your deal?
Her deal? But he was the one acting strange. She was just trying to help. And he was still hadn't eaten a single thing.
I don't want your darn potatoes, Ana. Just leave me alone.
Ana hesitated for a moment. A moment longer and her fists would have given quite a speech. She turned around and angrily stormed off. That would teach her to think about anyone other than herself. Ana marched towards one of her usual hideouts atop the rundown temple walls, away from Adder's sight. She needn't run that far. He wasn't going to pursue her this time. Alone with one of her potatoes and all of her weapons, Ana began rummaging through her pockets in search of a knife. There was never a lack of those on her person. She brought out one of her trusty daggers and focused all of her attention on cutting the potato into thinner and thinner slices. She wasn't wrong. There was just no way she was. She was older and wiser. And Adder was just being an idiot by refusing her help. Of course.
Hiding from the mob, little Tess?
Oh my god. That almost freaked me out. God damn it, giant tree man. Perfectly described it. Replying to Illigrab wasn't precisely on Ana's list of priorities for the day. Illigrab didn't expect otherwise.
Don't worry. I took care of them. No need to thank me, of course. Wouldn't kill you, though. Anyway, all that's left is putting out the fire. So, I was hoping Adder could give me a hand there. Where is the lad?
That was another question that didn't deserve an answer. Ana devoted her whole being to gathering all the extra thin potato slices and then launched them into the air, watching them fly around like some tremendously wasteful confetti. Little did she know that she could invent potato chips by just simply frying them.
Did you two get in a fight?
Here we are, back at it again, at the fountain. Ana led Illigrab to the courtyard. Ana led Illigrab to the courtyard, there where a peevish Adder sat by the fountain. He was rubbing his face as he stared at all of the food by his side.
He hasn't come back to his senses yet, huh? Hey, think it's your father's fault? I mean, I could leave him a little longer on the pyre to see if he learns his lesson.
Don't we all?
Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur! Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur! Eat face. I'll make a wardrobe out of you! Oh, bless your ears, Red.
Aina shook her head, frustrated. The merchant hadn't said anything meaner than usual, and even if he had, Adder and Aina formed an unbreakable team. Nothing could harm them when they were together. They looked in Adder's direction once more. I did a front flip. I won't pretend I've ever understood how Adder's mind works. Back flip, front flip. My goodness.
You two worrywarts were made for each other.
Aina's face turned red immediately. The legendarily morose Smith would rather admit to any criminal charges against her than let on that she was actually concerned about anyone's well-being. Illigrib smiled and stepped forward before she had a chance to protest, however.
Let me handle this. Addison, son of Gerfaz of the Upperfield, you're under arrest!
Yeesh. That's one way to solve problems.
Oh, Three, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew that it was against the law, but I couldn't just go tell on her. Please don't kill me.
So easy to break.
For worrying a precious little bead. Like,
I don't know if precious little bean would be the best way to describe Aina. Preciously threatening little bean would be a lot better. We save the precious little bean title for TJ. From Echo.
Aina, sweetie, give us a minute, will you? Adder, my favorite Chanthurian refugee.
Oh, God.
Why would the only law-abiding deer in Slander District ever beg for his life?
Wait, Chanzerin. Jeez, I would not have been able to pronounce that. Good thing I didn't have to pronounce that.
Did Geoff talk you into conning someone? Someone called Talid, perhaps?
No, thank you. All the gold in my socks are on ain't worth a word with that sicko. Don't tell him I said that.
Well, that rules the most serious possibility out, which leaves us with a scared buck and a secret.
The complicated love triangle. The true secret of all novels.
And you know that I'm only second to Aina when it comes to both.
Oof.
Start talking.
Oof. Illigrub angry is pretty close to Aina angry. I was there telling them how to pronounce these things. Ah, that must have been quite an experience. I mean, I would say tough, but you know, it's your world. It must be just like tough when it's like you see it as I'm gonna pronounce it like this in your head, and then somebody else has to like read it for you, and they're like pronouncing it in like 3 different ways, and you're like, no, it's this. Voice directing just seems like a very tough job, but glad you did it, Sandra. Begone, Satan. No, Illigrub is not Satan. The merchant is Satan.
All right. If I'm gonna die, at least let me die an honest buck.
Oh, I see the legs. I see the legs in the background. I know.
I met this girl and she booped me and I got so nervous that I ran away, but then we met again and it turned out we kind of knew each other because I tried to save her once. Things got kind of heated up between us and what we did that night. Oh boy, that can't be legal.
Oh boy. That's great.
Oh, say no more. So, you shed your antlers. That's no big deal. And most certainly not a crime. Though you know, fawns happen. You do know about that, right?
Oops.
Adder, I love you like a son, but please don't make me take on your father's actual educational duties.
Oof. Sud zoned.
I know where fawns come from. That ain't...
Good, good. Then what could... Oh, of course. I should have known from the very first moment.
Adder's eyes lit up slightly. Ilgrub let a heavy hand fall on the buck's shoulder as he took a deep breath.
No matter how guilty you feel, cheating is not a crime.
But it's still morally wrong.
Say what?
I want you to know that I don't approve of what you've done, but I'm sure Ada will understand if you talk to her.
Oh god, and her just being in the background. Oh no.
I'd never cheat on Aina. I'd have to be courting her for that anyway.
Oof, oof. Not even thinking about dating her zone. The worst of the zones.
You're not?
Yikes.
Of course not. My boss is the strongest, and the coolest, and cute as a bug to boot. Ain't nobody good enough in this world to court Aina, much less me.
Oh, it's so sweet. I forgot about this line.
I could never find me a doe like her.
Oh. Dang. That just hit the heartstrings.
But kid, she's not a...
Oh, got him. If a tree falls in a temple and there are 3 people to hear it, including the tree itself, does it make a sound? The answer is yes. He says do. Oh god. Oh no.
All right, kiddo. That's the end of the talk. Why don't you go back to sulking in the corner or something?
Ilgrub laughed awkwardly as Aina dragged him away.
You're lucky I can't have you arrested, you unruly little beast.
Oh, I was gonna say, to the next scene. That was quick.
Yeah, of course. Mock your biggest ally. Oh, excuse me. That wasn't on purpose. I swear.
Okay.
Your greatest ally. I was just trying to help you. Forget that stupid argument. I thought I told you to tell him the truth already. Don't play the mute card with me. There's a million ways you could tell him. That boy's blinder than Pertok, but he'll find out sooner or later that you're lying to him. You want to wait till Eka is here? How do you think he'll react then?
Oh no. Who is this mysterious character I don't know about?
Aina, we aren't like him. Like them. I know you care a lot about him, and so do I. I love the both of you. But keeping up the charade for so long is only gonna make the truth harder than it should be. Dear, have a life. And we're a part of it, of course, but there are just some things that we can never give them. Things they need in their short time on Dakna. No matter how much we love them.
Oh, sad. Sounds like you're talking about a dog or like a cat or something like that. The shorter life. It's so sad.
Adder is no exception to that rule. He's beginning to realize that you're not the son of his life, Aina. Take the whole knight business out, and what do you have? He's just a boy with down-to-earth concerns. He wants a farm. He wants a family. He will move on one day and find those things. And we should be happy for him. Do you understand?
Hold on. I have to pay the respects for this. Imagine that, Jaro. Poor Aina. There were some concepts that Aina was acutely aware of, even if she herself didn't realize that. How painfully small her influence could be on anyone's life was one of them. A few moments went by in complete silence as she contemplated the faces that had left her behind already. She had always been all too eager to forget how rare company had been throughout her existence. Bearing the weight of such a thought, she finally nodded with her head low. Illigrub's mustache turned down as his eyebrows rose. A million worried creases formed where his forehead should be.
Great! Then do me a favor and take him somewhere nice tonight.
Sneak him on a date. Why
You
not?
have to make sure to have fun together while you can. So go make up with him. Take him out tonight. Who knows? Maybe he'll loosen up and tell you what's going on after a few drinks.
Oh, I know where this is going.
It's time to let him in or let him go. So you two'd better be smooshing faces together by the end of the night, okay? That's a royal order.
Oh no. In an incredible display of dexterity, Illigrub managed to produce a giant tree deer's handful, of Dorus from the bag on his belt, which he handed to a very flustered Aina as discreetly as he could. Satisfied with his act of generosity, he took a long glance around the forge, finally stopping to stare at the embers resting on the bottom of the furnace.
And you can think of that as a tip. You know, so you can get to work on my order a bit faster.
Aina looked at Illigrub straight in the eye, not restless, not calm. Even more silently than usual, she stretched out the hand holding the coins towards him.
Fair enough. I should know better than to try to bribe a Tess. You guys are a prideful bunch. But hey, keep the money. I'm sure Adder could use a little, push in the right. Are you going to help me down or what?
Oh boy.
Red, I swear I'd let the mobs have their way with you if it wouldn't make your daughters sad.
Oh, wait, daughters? Oh goodness. So that's who the other person was, probably. Was it Eka? Yeah, goodness, I just forgot. He has multiple children. Yikes. This will be interesting.
I'd like to see you try! Oh, I'm sure you would. He's right, though. I shouldn't leave him hanging like that. Good luck, Aina.
Free from the chains of unwanted social interaction, Aina silently pondered Illigrub's words as she headed back to Adder's side. The used-to-be sacred flat pools in the public courtyard now served as a magnificent dish and laundry washing station. Adder's particularly, since he was in charge of these chores. Red, yes. Don't you know that Aina is his daughter? I mean, yeah, he reproduced multiple times, yes. I'm surprised, too, about that. At the end of the day, any of her oh-so-urgent chores were just another excuse to keep Adder around. He purposefully looked the other way. Of course he didn't want to talk to her. The irony of getting blatantly ignored by the clingiest deer in Dakna wasn't lost on Aina. A painful punishment if there was one. An apology was something to be rarely expected from the smith. Not because she failed to see the fault in her actions, but because she didn't know how to apologize. No, that was just an excuse. Adder always knew when Aina felt guilty about anything. Then again, why did she have to apologize when it was him who failed to appreciate her efforts? She would have continued patting her own back and telling herself how right she was. if she hadn't noticed that the food wasn't nowhere to be seen. Oh, so quick, so smooth.
Yeah?
Anna carefully removed from Adder's hands the brass dish that he'd been polishing over and over.
It's not clean yet. There's some red spot that just won't get.
Here it is, the plate scene. An incredible feat, considering that he'd been washing that same dish since her conversation with Ilgrip started. The dish had been cleaned with such dedication that she could see her reflection in it. Anna stared at the dish. Oh, back at it. Then at Adder. Back at the dish. And Adder again. Once satisfied with her observations, she whacked Adder's snout with the flat side of the dish in a manner that she considered softly.
What is it now?
Smirking in the most annoying fashion possible, she shoved the dish on Adder's face.
Yeah, there it is. Just let me clean that darn dish.
It's his nose, isn't it? Anna turned the dish around once more to just make sure she was right. There was no spot to be seen. Seeing that her first idea didn't yield any results, Anna decided that some better strategic positioning was in order.
Hey, wait! Don't go walking into the pool. You're gonna make a...
Ignoring the way her boots were getting soaked and how questionable her repositioning was, Anna sat down in the gap left between Adder's legs in the pool. And the first candidate for the thumbnail is right here. My goodness. Sorry. It's just cheeky. So, she held the dish out as far as she could and then tapped on its surface, attempting to call Adder's attention to it once more. He had to regain a bit of composure first. What is this, chat? Oh, goodness.
Can't you see the spot? It's there, right next to your face.
It's a blush. Oh, it's a blush, not the nose. A brief lapse of clarity came about as Adder's sight traveled towards a red blur on the brass dish, right where his right eye should have been. Oh, shoot, I was wrong. Look at that thing.
And I'm done. Big surprise.
Oh. They agreed on that. A tranquil silence followed Adder's epiphany, a moment of reflection. Anna looked up at Adder with her big lilac eyes, hoping to tug at his heartstrings in lieu of an apology. Oh. Some would call that kind of purposefully cute look manipulative. Some would get their asses kicked.
Well, darn, boss. I may not be all that used to the eye thing just yet, but I don't really need two eyes to see when you're trying to play me.
Yep, you're right, Jaro. Pretty right on that. Anna patted Adder's enormous arms as patronizingly as she could, ruffling the fur that covered them. It seemed none of them would exactly apologize for what happened. Oof. So of course they went back to playing with the dish like the big children they were. Oh, that's cool.
Who the hell's that gnarled leafless palm tree? That ain't me. There just ain't no way that's my face. Where'd my cheeks go? No wonder I don't recognize myself. Hold up. How did she even manage to recognize me then? Was that magic too?
Gaze reading. Anna had no idea what she or who she was or what magic he was talking about. But there was only one gigantic one-eyed roe deer with shovels for hands in the whole day on the whole city. Jeez. I'm not sure if this is just gonna be like a running gag on my channel, but just me constantly trying to get thumbnails for each episode while streaming. But honestly, they're pretty cute. Pretty cute together. Okay, yep. Got it just before it left. Good. Adder put the dish away, fixing his gaze farther in the fountain, where a statue stood mutilated and bereft of the glory it had ages back. Oh, is this the statue that was there when they when Sepp and Adder first met? Huh, I'm curious now.
Curses. Ain't no way I could forget someone like that twice.
Knowing fully well that he wasn't talking to her, Anna continued running her bandaged fingers along her fur absent-mindedly, somewhat concerned about his sudden interest for the son of the sun. She could only guess why he was talking to a statue, but then again, didn't that hold true for everything? Did she actually understand a single thing Adder did or said? Could she even? She could not. Oh, hey, there's 11 people watching. Cool. That's one short of being 111. Like the person in our chat. Shout to 111. The Hayseed Night gameplay, but looking for a thumbnail. That's just every episode. Visual novel. But just taking screenshots while hiding the dialogue bar. I'm so sad. Adder told her a million things since they met. She didn't care. They did not affect her in the slightest. And yet he kept pouring his heart out to her, and she kept ignoring him, like some sort of tug of war for lonely idiots. So why did the thought of not understanding him distress her so much now, when she hadn't made a single effort to do so in the time they had known each other? In the time they had known each other, Illegreb's words resonated within her, making her feel a guilt she usually quieted with violence.
You know, I've been thinking a whole darn lot about the past lately, boss.
Ina's torn-up ears perked up. What were the chances of those two thinking the same thing? Is she also a gaze reader? Adder smiled ever so slightly, giving her his trademark, "Here's a story you don't want to miss" look.
Do you remember the day we met?
What a question.
Hey, don't you... At me, Missy. Imagine you just walked into the city thinking this is finally your day. You make a friend, he's gonna get you a job, and then you turn around a corner and stumble upon a grandpa on fire!
Oh my god. That seems like Red. Nothing strange as far as Anna was concerned.
Do me a favor and make like your idea of weird and mine sort of match for a minute, boss. As I was saying, my pa raised a good boy, and a good boy don't let grandpas fry on a pyre. So I rush into the temple, ready to end the one life I got to save his.
What Adder didn't know is that Anna had been looking down on the scene from her window, giving her quite a more accurate retelling of the events.
But no matter how hard I try, the fire's just too strong for me. There's nothing a poor buck like me can do. With his last breath, the old man calls for his daughter, and he hollers until... Whoa! The prettiest girl I'd seen in my life walks right out of the gate!
Oh god. Straight out of an anime. Oh my god. The third candidate for the thumbnail. I am so sorry, guys. I'm just gonna be like, you know, straight up honest about it. Like, I do this a lot for these videos, but hey, what can you do when you got some good images for the video? Getting too obsessed with the business of thumbnails. I feel like I should maybe do this after the videos, but then I never get the time to. Honestly, that probably would be a better idea if I even, like, just sat down and remembered to do that. Or made an effort to. But yeah, like, low-key, this is like... this is pretty awesome. It's so tough now to pick between the plate scene and this. Anna made a conscious effort not to giggle. To be fair, half the female population that Adder met was the prettiest girl he'd seen in his life.
And as she makes her way through the crowd, she looks at me. At me! Of all the people!
Of course she was looking at him. He was screaming louder than the man on the pyre. God, he's such a thick boy here. Oh my god, he's so dummy.
And she gets closer. And closer. And then... the little thing just signs us to get eaten by a beast and walks away like it's got nothing to do with her. Wonder who that gal was, huh?
Oh my god, Adder. He poked Anna's cheek, stretching. He poked Anna's cheek and she slapped his hand away as solemnly as she could. He was one to talk about first impressions. There he is. Oh, look at him. Yeah, adorable. Look how he is. Shaggy, chubby, badly patched up, and wearing a ridiculous vest. That's how she remembered the Adder that first appeared in their gate, screaming in fear as usual. Once upon a time, there had been muscle and even fat on Adder's arms. All that remained to attest to his giganticism were a pair of oversized hands and clothes that had been mended beyond recognition. Indeed, he was once a boy with a tender scar on his face, yelling from the rooftops that he fully intended to become a knight. But dreams aren't edible, are they?
I gotta say, this year's been kicking my ass real bad. But I'm still alive and in one piece. I mean, I guess I got good health at least. No thanks to your horn-shattering, teeth-breaking, nose-bending punches.
Adder describes 2018 very well. It's a good thing I did this at the start of the new year. That's my first New Year video.
But you're the one person I can always count on, boss. I trust you with my life.
Aww. That was just a very Adderous exaggeration, of course. They had only been friends since the last bleak night, at least the way she saw it. There was no way he trusted her that much already. Then again, Adder would have probably argued that they had been friends since he arrived with the first bloom of flower scents, and that he would have died for her the moment he saw her.
And it ain't just you. I can't imagine leaving Mr. Bard's home. Or not going on walks with Illigrab. Even the patron. Gods, I never thought I'd find something like this when I left the fort. I was just dying to go back.
Aww. Adder shut up all of a sudden. Anna was surprised he'd managed to speak half a sentence about his draft. There went another issue he never talked about. Oh, back to the blade. Both Adder and Anna turned their eyes to the reflection once more. The image on the dish offered no good answer to the questions either of them had. It just talked about the outcome of their decisions. Anna shifted Ina shifted the dish a little until she was no longer in the picture. That's where she belonged.
Now, you really gotta quit sneaking around, boss.
Y'all shipping these two like FedEx. You haven't seen the Tennis Ace chat, Sandra. The Tennis Ace video chats are, some spicy shipping chats. But anyway, putting his hands just above hers, Adder turned the dish so she would be back in the reflection. She turned her face up towards his, confused.
Eligrab's words got to you, right?
Still observing Adder's snout in such a weird angle, she nodded. He had been a lot more vigilant than what she had originally thought, but he had decided to remain silent about it all the same. From such a low angle, his still faunish and round face even looked even mature. Now, that was a stretch. She knew that mature was probably one of the last adjectives that would ever be associated with him. But just for a moment, she felt like he wasn't a dumb kid who'd get lost if she let go of him anymore.
Please, oh please tell me you didn't believe him, ma'am. He got it all wrong. I ain't no cheater. I never once said I was courting you, I swear.
And it all comes out. Oh my god, Sep is. But you haven't met her in this vid. So that's what you missed, people like Dilly. It was just a moment, as I said. Ina quietly considered the question. But not before headbutting his chest for that tell, of course. Pry or comfort him? And we're gonna go to a vote, because now we have twice as many people to vote on it. Do we pry him on this mysterious person who we all know as Sep? Or do we comfort him? Oh shoot, is my screen glitching? Oh, that's still the... Yeah, it's like I'm looking back at like the what's being sent out through the feed or whatever, and it's still like, 10 seconds behind or 20. I don't know, it's just stuck. Hopefully it's not stuck. So 1 for comfort. You think... I mean, we all met Sep probably... I mean, we all met Sep in, like, the last episode. Because that was the episode where it was, like, you went to her, like, kind of fortune-telling place or whatever. Place, maybe it's our house, I don't know. But, I mean, I went through it. It's like, I don't think it should be a surprise to you guys. Maybe I'm just completely accidentally spoiling it, but I mean, it's like Ana doesn't know, but it's like, I think, would know. Here's my little mouse just walking around the screen. So, everybody's voting for comfort so far, so 3 for comfort. What happened to his eye? We don't know exactly, but... I bet we'll find that out, like, later on in later chapters. Be a good question to ask Sandra. Spoilers happened. Oh, noes! Sorry, I just had to take my mouse off the screen to see something in the chat. Yeah, I'll probably save this as well. We're just going through all these saves, it's like save spots, like really quickly. Probably going to get to the end of page 1 by the end of this episode, so at least we'll have a full page filled up, and I'll know it's the bottom right corner that is the newest one. Because, like, I saved my first split indecisions, like, in the weirdest spots. Should have saved them all in one row, and then I didn't. So, we are going to comfort him. No matter what was troubling Adder, it was obviously not her business. She didn't like it when he pried into her life. It was only fair she'd return the favor and let him be. Oh my goodness. This whole time, guys, I thought this was a decision that was supposed to be what Aina does for Adder, and I completely misread it. Didn't realize it's Adder that's comforting Aina. I am dense. Aina took a long glance at the stag's jaw, letting her mind wander. She always kept him at an arm's length, effectively speaking. She feared what Adder would find if he looked closer. But in moments of true hardship, Aina knew just what to do to cheer him up. No money or alcohol required. Effortlessly, she grabbed onto his arms and brought them around her waist, pulling him into what could only count as half a hug. Oh, it was Aina. I was like confused for a second because of that changed perspectives. Adder embraced her as strongly as she could, moved by this gesture. Any other person's spine would have probably crumbled under the weight of Adder's chest, but not Aina's, no.
Boss, I can't believe Eligrab had the nuts to go and say such a thing. What kind of buck does he think I am? He knows how much you mean to me. I'd never, ever hurt you like that.
Aina sighed contentedly to herself, laughing about her previous considerations about him looking like an adult. Adder was as caring, vulnerable, and predictable as the day she met him. That hadn't changed at all. She didn't want him to change at all. Oh, it's Aina's perspective this entire chapter? Wow, I didn't realize that. Like, now I'm looking back on that. Yeah, that's good to know. Fun fact. Brain EXE has stopped working. It's winter break. Change was scary, and Adder an oddity in a world that shunned her. She wanted him safe and sound by her side. How could that ever be a bad thing? She didn't need an answer. It was now time for Aina to go back to sulking and for Adder to feel bad thinking that it was due to what Ilgrab said. Oh, that's interesting, Dilly. I mean, Adder's supposed to be more of like a rural, like country type of character, so like that's kind of what the voice is going for. So I guess like if that describes you well, that maybe it's a good match.
They got it all wrong. Eligrab, Mr. Bard, the patron. I know they want to help, but all them city folks think they know better than Shorthorns over yonder. He don't ever get to finish talking because they already know what a dumb fawn's gonna say. You got any idea how gosh darn friggin' annoying that is?
Them city folks don't get it. Go to farmersonly.com. Like anytime I see city folk, that's what I think. Aina rolled her eyes back. Ask the mute girl if she knows anything about not getting to chip in.
I ain't no fawn. I've been a farmer and a water seller and a watchman and a soldier. I had a life before I met him, and I have one now too, but I just don't want to tell them about it. They wouldn't understand.
Oh, but they would.
And what if I just don't want to talk? What if I'm tired of everyone thinking I'm a hick and that's it? It ain't the end of the world, right? Right?
Adder looked at Anna pleadingly with a big glassy eye on the verge of tears. The smith couldn't even bring himself to give him the sarcasm he deserved. Hey, somebody gets it. Anna nodded patiently, giving him a lazy, derisive pat on the cheek. She found that almost relatable. With the loud sigh full of recognition, frustration, and just a hint of relief, Adder rested his chin on Anna's head, letting his surge of honesty suddenly vanish.
Woo! Feels good to get that off my chest. Once more, does and stags, the only one that gets it is Anna the Smith. I'm sorry for all the grief I've given you, boss. I should have talked to you sooner.
Indeed, he should have, but she was gracious enough to not remark it. Anna let him know that she was still expected an explanation with a single look, and Adder's cheeks jumped a little as he looked away, smiling as coyly as his giant teeth would let him. Yeah, he's got that slim, tall build, just like most volleyball players. I know people like that where it's just like they're just like sticks, like they're just thin, tall people. It's an interesting world. And I'm just the average height person. And here came the part where he poured his heart out to the beautiful maiden by his side, and their relationship was strengthened even further.
Boss, you know that I know there ain't nobody in the whole of Akathor that'll keep a secret safer than you. But that still don't mean you get to hear about it.
Time to roll out the barrels.
Well, ma'am, I think I'm all talked out for today. I should get going now. Mr. Bard's playing tonight, and someone's got to make sure he don't drink our money. See you tomorrow.
Adder headed off to the arc that led to Slander District. A set of steps started walking behind him.
Boss? Ha! Gotcha. Did I forget something?
Anna pointed at Adder, and then at herself.
You want to come along?
Heck yeah. Let's do this.
I don't know, boss. It's, a stag night. We're gonna drink ourselves silly, and then we're gonna talk about does. Woo! Yeah.
What's good? Rip, no one told me what's good. Gotta pay respects to that. Alright, so... Y'all talking about does. Now there's the biggest piece of fiction ever written. Needless to say, Anna remained very much unconvinced.
What about your pa? He's gonna be madder than a hornet when he hears you're out drinking with me again.
The merchant was essentially mad every fraction of a second he spent alive. That wasn't a deterrent under any circumstance.
Let me make this a bit easier for you. Do you remember the last time we went to a tavern together, boss? You know, when you threw Mr. Bard out a window, and then you just ran after him and left me alone to...
This reminds me of, like, how Alex keeps threatening to throw Sai out the window. But only Anna actually did, and she was way smaller. My goodness, who would win in a fight, guys? Anna or Alex?
Hold up. Don't tell me that was the day she...
Whatever story Adder was about to tell disappeared completely from his mind. He bit the claw on his thumb, babbling to himself with that strange accent of his. Her boots didn't even make a sound as she shyly walked towards Hatter. She grabbed his hand in her comparatively tiny fingers and looked up, awaiting a response. Sob, sob, whimpering, sob, cry, sob.
Sorry, boss, don't cry, please. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you wanted to come along so bad.
Aw.
You could come down with us any day. And if Mr. Bard got anything to say about that, I'll take care of him.
Alright. Ada's lip trembled as she struggled to keep a smirk away from her face. Ah, you sneaky devil. Ana wins because I'm the writer. Yeah. Nah, it's just gonna be the battle of the writers at this point. Sandra versus Basket Case. Oh goodness. That would be quite a battle. Yeah. For like my top novel. But now it's just like Ana and Alex have to fight for which novel is my favorite novel.
Not so fast, ma'am. You gotta swear over by tie that your butt and the seat are gonna be one and the same. If I see you throw a single punch or a kick, or God's forbid a stab, I ain't ever taking you with me again.
Stab, stab.
I don't want another buck slamming a chair against my noggin. Got it?
Alright, so we're an hour and a half into this. And I think it's gonna be an hour more of content. Should I end it here or keep going? Because I could split this up into 2 episodes and just, you know, end it on the last episode. So, you know, at least have something going on after this week. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, I got no content, guys. But yeah, my other videos for the Hayseed Night, like live stream, are typically an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops. One of them was like an hour 20, I think. So let me just save first, just so we got that. Oh, no, don't overwrite. I just saved it. So one for keep going, one for if you want to. Like it gets pretty good, but it's so tough. I'm like, actually, why not? Let's just make a New Year's special. So one for stop, one for keep going, and one for my decision, which means we'll keep going. Suspicious glares and mutters accompanied Ana and Adder all the way through Slander District, and until they ended up in their usual tavern, or rather, the closest thing to a tavern one could find in there. Wanna see you go with Gyoff this time. Oh goodness. This will be interesting. The lucky bastard, so called in honor of the owner's late husband, who was struck dead by a lightning bolt after walking out of a gambling house. Of course. How come my panda doesn't have nipples? I am not a big nipple fan. Plus, I think, you know, if we're being like more realistic with like how fur would work, I would think it would cover it. That's just my opinion. I don't know how we just got from nipples to, or you know, how we got to talking to nipples. All right. So moving on. The 3 were clearly mad at him, though not quite as much as his wife. She'd surely made peace with the memory of him after finding his secret earnings and opening the tavern. If that doesn't give you a clear idea of the type of gents that frequented the establishment, suffice it to say that they would let Gyoff play in it. Adder peeked in, looking with apprehension at the few deer scattered across the tavern. Anyone capable of ignoring the aberrations Gyoff played probably deserved to be there. Oh, and there she is. A quick look back at Anna revealed her eagerness to quiet Gyoff using her fists. She noticed Adder's expression and quickly put her hands behind her back.
Hey now, you promised you'd be quiet. You swore over Baitot. He's gonna smite you to death.
Anna took a hand to her forehead and pretended to swoon. She actually miscalculated and fell on her butt. Smitten indeed.
I ain't joking around, boss. This is the one place in the district that still lets Mr. Bard play. I can't get in trouble here. I can't do that to Gyoff again, okay? Do it for me?
And there went Anna's plan for the night. Everyone turned towards the duo as they walked towards the bar, with their faces that went from awe to eerie. The barkeep, upon noticing Adder, quickly rushed to his side.
There you are, Adder. Just the man I wanted to stab today. Go tell that asshat friend of yours to tune that stupid piece of...
Anna's eyes met the barkeep's. She paled. Anna smiled. Though Adder would have you believe otherwise, Anna storming off was hardly an uncommon event. It was, in fact, how most of her arguments with her father ended up, since she could not quite defend her own causes. Some strange events tended to occur concurrently. One night, an enormous hole appeared in one of the city walls. One day, the sun rose to reveal that Baitat's statue was missing its 2-story tall sword. Most recently, someone removed all the pavement from the northeastern corner of the central plaza. An extremely sharp dagger was the only clue the thief left behind. But of course, Adder didn't believe that his beloved boss had anything to do with any form of nocturnal vandalism.
Wait. What? You...
Oh, right. Boss, this is the prettiest barkeep in town, Miss Barkeep. Miss Barkeep, this is the prettiest smith in town, my boss, Anna.
Anna?
Oh no. Anna tilted her head up slightly to let Adder pat her head affectionately. Still in such a cute position, she turned her eyes towards the barkeep in a killing glare.
Anna, of course. I didn't know it was like that. Give me just a... You bunch of twats better get your asses out of this place immediately! These two want some space!
There was no answer to the barkeep's order. Anna reached for the hammer on her back. Oh no.
There's no need for that, ma'am. We'll just try to fit in a corner or something.
Oh god, look at the whole chat misspelling Anna is like... Yeah, exactly, almost there. Adder took a deep breath as Anna placed the hammer back on her belt, sending just one last look of disappointment his way. Gyoff's barely cohesive poetry became clearer as they reached the back of the tavern, though the bard seemed too occupied with his performance to notice them yet. They managed to find an empty space where they could barely fit together, though their designated room on the floor became considerably bigger after Anna curled her lips at the deer around them.
Well, that sure was a thing. She never called anyone a twat for me before. You know the barkeep, boss?
Who knows? Nope. No way. She had to be confusing Anna for some other green-haired albino that wandered from tavern to tavern once a moon, demanding a little tip in exchange for not razing the place to the ground. Easy mistake. Once seated, Aina called the barkeep with a deep, menacing growl. She rushed to their side immediately.
Yes, miss?
Oh goodness, she looks so scary. Aina pointed to a cup and raised 2 fingers. The barkeep clearly didn't need a translation, but Aina's request didn't seem to cheer Adder up as it should have. Yeah, margaritas don't exist here, I don't think. This is still like medieval-ish times, but it's like in the middle, kind of like Middle East-ish area, like Eastern Europe-ish area, I think.
Make that just one, ma'am. I ain't got enough money. And I don't feel like drinking anyway.
But Aina felt like making him a drink, of course. She brought out a shiny Doru from Ilgrab's gift, pointed to herself and then at Adder.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you, boss. But really, I don't wanna. I said no thanks.
Aina tried to push the 2 coins into the barkeep's hand, while Adder tried to pull her hand away fruitlessly.
Aina! What did I say earlier about trying to know what's best for me, huh? I don't always gotta get naked to have fun, alright?
Both Aina and the barkeep looked at each other. Then they looked at Adder as he pursed his lips together.
Get drunk? I mean, I don't gotta get drunk. What do you know? I think I kinda do need a drink. Get me drunk, please. I don't want to think about being naked now.
Oh god. Oh god. Adder was already bringing himself enough shame, so Aina kindly overpaid the barkeep in a desperate action to make her go away. Once the barkeep left, she took one of Adder's hands and pulled it away from his eyes, trying to take a good look at his face. She would have had better luck looking for faces in the mold covering the walls.
Doth mine ears deceive me, or is that the tinkling of coins I hear?
And he's back. None other than Yah finally turned towards them with a very calculated nonchalantness, plucking the strings of his perpetually out-of-tune ode. Aina pulled her ears down and sighed audibly.
Goodness gracious! If it isn't Ladder, accompanied by the petite patroness no less, of all the miserable taverns in this loathsome city.
They both knew that Gyoff had been expecting Adder, and had clearly seen them walk in. But why say hi like a normal person?
Evening, Mr. Bard.
I know what time of the day it is, thank you very much. I'm painfully sober yet. Or at least sober enough to recognize a moon in the sky, and a lad eaten up by his misgivings when I see one. Aina, what did you tell Adder to make him wail like that?
The fight begins.
Oh, woe is me! So young and I'm turning hard of hearing. Speak up, dearie.
Oh god. Aina's teeth gritted one against the other loud enough for Adder to hear. They exchanged a very serious look. One that said, "Don't." A series of strangely precise grunts and gestures followed one another under the expectant attention of the bard. Afterwards, they both looked at Adder until he finally relented.
She wants you to keel over and die.
Good translation.
Why? Is she too lazy to kill me herself?
Oh god, you're asking for a fight.
It was a question, not an invitation. But of course, that kind of subtlety doesn't fare so well around the likes of you.
Aina was considering how to best break Gyoff's snout in a single strike, but Adder fulminated the bard with a look before Aina had so much a chance to grunt.
Cut me with the sword if thou must, but wound me not with the knives in thine eyes. Not you, Cabbage Head. I know you'll do both gladly.
Jesus. Trying to sound so poetic there.
Hey, quit picking on her.
picking on her. Goading her a little counts as a provocation now? 'Tis but a jest between old friends. Very old friends. Aina knows it, doesn't she? Doesn't she?
I said quit that, Bard.
Me? She's the one that casually throws people out of windows.
And will do so gladly again.
That's because y'all make her mad.
Guards? Guards? Yes, see, my friend broke a buck's spine, but that's okay because she was mad.
Adder was about to reply, but the barkeep finally arrived with 2 cups filled to the top where she surely hadn't spit at all.
Ah, just the thing to keep me goading.
Gaff grabbed one of the drinks before Aina had a chance to grab hers. She rose up from her seat livid.
Hold up, boss. Don't go breaking promises so soon. I'll pay you back for that one. Here, you can have mine instead.
Later, Gaff died that night. Oh god. Aina took a brief look at the edge of the cup. It was covered with foam, which meant that Adder had taken a sip. Which meant that his lips had been there. Which meant...
No, she can't have that one either. Aina's not old enough to drink. At least formally, And she's never getting older.
Just as Gaff was about to drink from his cup, Aina snatched her drink back. She gulped the beer down.
I'd say I hope you choke on it, but you can't even...
Oh god. The quote of the day. Jeez, Gaff. Why you gotta be so personal with her? She'd probably do better than you. Aina proceeded to spit the drink all over Gaff's face and then slammed the cup against the table, leaving a crater in the metal sheet. Gaff dragged his hand down his face, trying to get some beer off of his fur. He was trembling slightly, but laughing all the same.
All this time thinking you were a golem, and it turns out you're just a misshapen walking fountain.
Will you two quit acting like fawns?
The whole tavern stared at Adder's outburst. Once shame caught up to him, the row sat down again, having a long sigh. Aina and the completely soaked Gaff looked at each other absolutely flabbergasted. They both understood.
Well, color me surprised. I must admit that being lectured in maturity by Mr. There's a beast in my pile of hay was the last thing I was expecting today. Indeed, this is no time to squabble. It's been forever and a half since we 3 last shared an evening together. And if it was about me, this would be the last. So I really need to know. What on the face of Dakna is wrong with you?
I'm fine.
You're as fine as muscular I am, my lad. Come on, you can surely tell your best friend about it.
Sorry, Bard, but this is one of them things I can't tell anyone, not even Aina.
Gaff's eyes and lips narrowed until they both formed a line. Though wounded, he attempted to smile once more.
Uh-huh. We'll go with fine, then. Look at her, I know you're positively fine, but you've been just a little quieter than usual. As in, not blowing my eardrums quiet. Why are you so fine?
I just got a lot on my mind right now.
Yes, I noticed you spend your nights moaning.
What do you want me to do? I can't sleep when I'm worried.
Worried? Oh boy, you're gonna go blind if you keep worrying so much.
Oh boy, look at that, just constant concern from Aina.
Don't go saying that kind of stuff in front of Aina!
Oh boy.
Why? Is she not the one for whom thy heart weeps?
Oh no.
Say what?
Oh crap. This is where it all comes.
I'm going to give you the chance of your life here. Do you want to sleep with Aina?
Oof. Just the expression Anna has is perfect. Adder got so flustered that he almost flipped the table. Anna suddenly lacked the dexterity to find any of her weapons and the accuracy to wrap her hands around Gyaf's neck.
Is that a yes?
It's a gosh darn freaking gazelle, alright?
Oh dear God, why'd you have to reveal it? Adder immediately dunked his face in the drink. Gyaf's jaw fell to the ground. Anna forgot how to breathe. The bard proceeded to spill the contents of a cup all over the plate, banging the table with a fist and laughing over the top of his lungs. Anna's cheeks swelled up as if she tried her best not to cackle.
Wait! All that melodrama just for some Barhad lass?
That ain't the...
This couldn't be sweeter, oh you're a horny good for her, though was so mistaken, you see. Thought you'd cry for a golem, but you're just too wholesome.
Oh God.
Quit with the
Rip.
golem thing and listen just this once, alright? It ain't about me being a horn eater or not. I mean, it don't even matter. It's been a moon since she gave me the axe. But I needed to see her one last time, and something happened that night. Something I can't tell Aina or you or anyone. And I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about her.
Yes. I'm sure a lot of things happened that night, or didn't from the look on your face. You know, there's not a face unbeknownst to this bard. So tell me which Zell has been touching your neck.
Go tune your ood, Gyaf.
Ood, okay.
Wow, touchy. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that you're a healthy deer with healthy obsessions that don't include lifelike dolls with a penchant for smithery. I'll leave you two friends to your business dinner.
Oof. Then the tensions are high. With that, Gyaf got up from his seat. Instead of going back to playing his horrible songs, however, he headed to the back door, muttering things under his breath all the while. Anna's eyes finally drifted back to Adder. He turned red like a tomato.
Gyaf, am I right? That bard's 2 straws shy of a hay bale and only half as smart. Sorry, boss. I need a moment.
Alright, so Sandra requested that we follow Gyaf this time. So let's see what happens when we follow Gyaf. If anyone could give Anna some definite insight on Adder's problem, it was the man that shared a room with him. That came out wrong. I see what you did there, man. Considering that Adder wouldn't miss her much in the state of despair he was in, Anna sneaked out right after Gyaf. She quietly closed the door behind her, taking a good look at the labyrinth of shady streets that manifested itself in front of her eyes. Needless to say, the bard was nowhere to be seen. Go back to Adder or keep looking? I mean, we committed, guys. Let's just keep looking. Her nose twitched slightly. She knew Gyaf was around somewhere. Anna began trudging through the dark alleys that made up Slander District, following the scent of broken dreams and time? Shrubs and deer alike avoided her whenever or wherever she went. The city knew her eyes. They knew the sound of her steps. Everyone would know if she grabbed a bag and left the city all of a sudden. Not for long, but they would know. And yet, she didn't know anything about those people staring at them. They had no names for her. They were just faces in the background. She wouldn't miss them even if they disappeared. Anna walked around a corner and then nervously walked back, lost in the maze of her own undoing. Perhaps she knew the names of people that felt the same way about her. Oh my goodness, you suck. Anna turned around at once, grabbing the idiot that dared startle her by the neck as she slammed him against the wall.
Aina, it's me, your pal Yoff, son of a guy.
Indeed he was, and now the thought of rendering the bard unable to speak another word for quite a while briefly crossed her mind. It was quickly followed by the image of Adder berating her for it. Oh, I love that. This little inner Adder won the battle. She put Yoff back on the ground, where he struggled to get his breath back. Losing the only person that was better than her at sneaking around would almost be a shame anyway.
What? That's it? Wow, you've really gone soft, shorty. So, what makes you follow a handsome rogue down a dark alley? Are you that heartbroken?
Anna covered her right eye with a hand and then shrugged.
Ah, Adder. Yeah, well, isn't it obvious? He's love-struck. Or love-lorn. Love something. And I'm ecstatic to hear that it's not for you.
Wow. Sucks. Strangling Yoff suddenly became the #1 priority once more. Until she realized that he looked as uncomfortable about Adder's ordeal as she did. Anna knitted her eyebrows together. She could barely believe what she was going to do. Gathering all her strength to quiet down her more violent urges, she pointed at Yoff and then shrugged again.
Me? You want to know what I think? Ugh, Aina, you can't just be nice all of a sudden. It's too weird. Ugh.
True that.
Look, I just hope that his heart is hurting for a nice kitchen maid, not that spoiled little...
Oh, shoot. Yoff muttered something to himself. Then he took his hand to his chin, humming quietly.
Where did that dumbass even find the time to find a lass, though? I recall we went looking for you. I met a guy, and that's where I drop off the face of Dakna. What do you have, shorty?
Aina tried to think back to the day of the fair. The night she spent wreaking havoc, of course, and the next morning Adder lectured on her as usual for running away without him. But the day of the fair? She recalled Adder talking about some gazelle, and she remembered calling him a horn-eater, and perhaps all that secrecy was her fault somehow. But that really gave them no clues about her identities. Aina shook her head. At least she managed to gather some second-hand information from what Adder told Ilograb, so maybe they could figure something out together.
Okay, maybe he just didn't say she was a gazelle, but he surely talked about her. What would an idiot in love say? Poems. Her mien. Did he talk about the marks on her face? Or her hair? How about her eyes? Did he recite about 4 verses full of similes, specifically likening her irises to sapphires or the sea?
Oh boy. Nope.
Okay, I need to get in character. I'm a huge walking palm tree that likes girls. Okay, what do I want? Her bosom? No, gazelles don't have any of that. Her horns? Nah, you'd have noticed mine. Their fur is yellow, and so is he. Okay, that doesn't help. Come on, Geoff, you know gazelles better than anyone. They have a tail and... Wait, tail?
Oh no.
That's it! Her butt! Did he talk about anyone's butt?
Aina didn't really want to recall all the times that Adder had spoken about butts, but she did it all the same. And there it was. Aina remembered perfectly Adder's pitiful attempt at pretending he hadn't been drooling for some gazelle with an impressive butt. Face. Yeah, sure, man. And for a moment, dumb as it may sound, she felt a twinge of happiness upon realizing that Adder really trusted her enough to tell her any kind of secret, butts included. Aina took both hands to her hips and moved them away from each other.
face. Some kind of pear. A bigger pear. A ball. Heavy. No, that. Can't you just write it?
A pair. Perfectly describes Sep. Tired of the pantomime, Anna simply pointed at her butt. Gyaf's face turned into an expression of pure, unadulterated horror.
He mentioned a gazelle's butt? Wait, there's more? He said she was strutting her butt? Oh gods, no! Not my sweet little adder! Not my Sep!
Oh no, he knows!
No, that has to be illegal somehow! Oh gods, no! Alright. Breathe in,
Oh goodness.
breathe out. Keep your temper in check, Gyaf. Okay.
Oh goodness, this is like a whole nother thing I'm seeing here.
Remember when I said that I'd be fine with him being with anything but a golem? This is the exception to the rule. I'll give you my blessings, I'll play at your wedding, I'll do anything you want.
Yeesh, that's harsh, man.
But I beg you, no, I implore you, keep her away from him, or else they'll...
Oh goodness.
Oh, God, no! I'm imagining it! Ugh.
Gazelle, dear children. What's wrong with that? Come on.
Look, I can't handle this. I can't look him in the face right now. I'm going home. Oh, gods, I have to tell Taylead. No, wait, no, he mustn't know.
A sudden concert of harmonic bells is the last thing one should expect in the slums. And yet, a one-bar Han band hurried in their direction. Gyaf wasted no time.
Get your hands off my lad, badass!
Oh, there she is. I didn't know Sep would come back.
What did you just say?
Oh goodness. Anna lacked all of a sudden the mental capacity or capability to point at the culprit hiding behind her. There was too much on her mind.
I don't have time for this.
The gazelle ran away, trying futilely to hold the bells that hung from her sash together so they'd stop ringing.
All right, that feels a lot better. Come on, Cabbage, we have to head back to the tavern. It's time for you and I to get back to work. Let us never speak about this again. Should be easy,
Oh goodness.
Oh, by the way, I'm keeping this as a consultancy fee.
Gyaf shook Anna's coin purse eagerly. She was kind enough to just bend his arm the wrong way instead of removing it from his body since it wasn't her money anyway.
There you are.
Oh. Oh, there he is, the guy that kept calling Anna a golem. This guy is frustrating.
You won't catch me alive.
Gyaf ran in the other direction, slamming the door behind him. The three remaining clients in the tavern watched him go without saying a single word.
He must have taken you for a tax collector.
How uncivil. So, back to the topic at hand.
Right. Hey, Aina, come here. This one here was just asking about you. Get this. He thought I was your patron.
I said master.
Hold up. I think I see the confusion. You mean the good kind of master or the bad kind of master?
The bad kind of master. Oof.
Because I'm neither of them. I'm just Aina's little potato.
Anna couldn't afford to lower her guard for 1 second. That fallow deer staring at her so intently could very well be a spy for Heirloom's Trader Guild, trying to get some information from Adder.
So, do you two know each other or something?
We absolutely do not. You may call me Burbeth if you must spend your breath discussing anything other than this beauty. Oh, look at that skin. Porcelain could never be so pearly. Gods above! Is that alabaster?
God, these expressions really suit him well. Oh, there he goes. Adder and Aina shared a confused look while Barabeth kept rambling.
Is he hitting on you?
You will find out soon.
However, the almost total absence of a snout and that triangular nose shape do not seem to align with the heavily embellished idea of the Ekain held throughout the rise of Persecurat. A fawn, perhaps? No, of course not. Eyes so detailed, roundish shapes and a small mouth. Oh, look at that blush covering the nasal area and the cheeks.
Oh, goodness.
The very expression of femininity. Oh, undoubtedly unique.
Darn right he's hitting on you.
Of course.
Of course, the Safi may have had a twisted sense of humor, shaping their servants like us, but they had their own moral standards. My point is, I never expected to see a golem with female features. Could I somehow convince you to part with it?
Oh my god.
Oh, my dad! It even talks! How did you make it do that?
Oh my god, doesn't even think that Aina's a real person. This sucks.
She, sir. Aina's a she.
Oh god. He's gonna get it.
Yes, I said as much. Wait, what are those spikes between her teeth? Some sort of defense mechanism?
Oh, I love these expressions for Berbeth, though. Berbeth pulled Aina's jaw open with his left hand, trying to get a closer look at her fangs. I wouldn't do that if I were you, man. Luckily for all of the involved, Adder pulled Berbeth's hands away from Aina's mouth right as her jaw snapped closed.
Ooh! An automated shutdown function with a timer for protection in the inner workings of the artifact. Oh, how fascinating!
Oh goodness, it's like you want to just like kick him in the balls.
Have you lost your marbles? Don't go sticking your hand into people's mouths, you creep!
Oh boy.
Why, I would never. You are talking about the golem, are you not?
Aina is not a golem!
Indeed, this is not a golem. This may very well be the golem. And I am very much willing to pay accordingly, I assure you. But to elevate it to the status of person.
Oof, dude, you gotta stop with this. Stop dehumanizing her.
Holy horns, is my accent too thick for them northern ears? Aina is a doe! A doe!
Are you certain about that? I do believe I look more like a doe than she does. If you would be so kind as to ignore the pun.
Oof.
Oh!
It's terrible.
So you're one of those does that saw off their horns?
Wow. Sounds very grotesque.
You could have been a fair deal subtle about asking that question. Yes, I file my claws for better accuracy, and yes, I lost my horns. But I am a man. You are no less a deer for having lost an eye, are you, sir?
Oof.
I get the feeling you're mixing wheat with chaff here.
Trans
But I ain't
doe.
gonna judge nobody for getting touchy about their horns. Sorry, Mr. Burbeth.
Oh, I was just gonna say trans doe. Yeah, that would be interesting. Having to like remove or add horns, like, an interesting type of dilemma in the world of deer and fawns.
Oh, worry not, friend. Truly, it is not the individual to be blamed, but a society that places unnecessary emphasis on weaponry and traditions from an age of intellectual darkness.
Here, here. I get so much grief for having small horns. But I says to anyone that looks at them wrong, you got a problem with them horns? Because I should be the only one worrying about my horns.
Indeed! Isn't the practice of turning our antlers to bone as a rite of passage simply barbaric? Without it, we would be free of accidents such as the one that beset me, and your need to overcompensate for your size complex.
Oof.
Darn right. Wait, my what?
Small. something energy. You can fill in the blanks there. Small blank energy. Both Adder and Barabeth turned to look at Aina. They'd clearly forgotten all about her.
Wow. Look at that face. Oh, I could almost swear it looks offended.
All right, let's go over this one more time. She, not it. I ain't saying that Aina looks like a doe, no siree. She is a doe, Mr. Barabeth. An albino doe. With a father, not a builder.
Exactly. Aina's gaze shifted the other way upon hearing the word doe used to refer to her. She nodded away not to leave Adder alone.
Well, it certainly isn't uncommon for an engineer to consider his magnum opus a child. It is, however, extremely unnerving, much like your complete ignorance towards the unique characteristics of your acquisition. The albino-like features we are accustomed to stem from the decay of their original paint. The root of her fur and beet red underpaint on this Aina's nose indicate that she was most likely done originally.
Oh god.
I see the green dye is recent though. Copper dye, perhaps? A, bold choice. Certainly not one I would have made myself.
Oh goodness.
With all due respect, sir, do you understand the kind of chemicals you're exposing your golem to?
Jesus. Adder stood still. So very still, it would seem he had turned to stone. Then the stone began moving. He got up very slowly, putting both hands on the table until he was fully standing like the towering mass he was.
You could call her my boss. You could call her my friend. You could call her a zillion bad names and she'd be all of them and more. But by God help you if you call her my golem again.
Oof. Adder's scream almost sent Barabeth's glasses flying. Panting and clenching teeth was not an expression befitting to a boy so sweet. Aina put a hand on Adder's arm. The boy stared at it for a moment before carefully shrinking back to his place on his seat.
Ahem. If your eyesight is as bad as I suspect it is, perhaps you should consider acquiring a monocle friend, or a relaxing cup of hemlock tea, both of which would do you much good.
Oof.
I am not sure as to how you stumbled upon her, but I am what you might consider an expert on the subject of Basaktarat as a whole, and I can tell you, this is a golem.
Oh god.
She's not!
Is too!
Is not!
Fine. I had been told the rose seemed hard of hearing out of sheer stubbornness, but let no dear say I did not attempt to reason with you first. Prepare to be convinced, sir.
Ooh, there we go. Barabeth's cape flew open. He drew a dagger with his left hand and pointed it at Adder. Seeing this, the barkeep rushed over to their side.
Stop that, you halfwit! They're gonna destroy the tavern!
Who? That fool?
Before even an inch of the tiny blade had been revealed, Adder started running. And even though Barabeth clearly didn't have any intention to pursue him, Adder kept running all the same.
No, not the Sandford, the beast!
Oh, not this again! Please, this is a golem! Honestly, are all you villains nearsighted?
Oh god, Aina glared at Barabeth with all her strength, but she'd promised to not cause a ruckus. All she could do is stand up to watch our brave buck immediately head in a panic to the other end of the room. A knight that ran in the opposite direction whenever he saw a pointy thing. Some knight that would be. Then again, Adder hadn't said anything about that for months. The only one to ever mention it anymore was Gyoff. Of course, Adder had stopped talking about becoming a knight. He knew how ridiculous that sounded. And he had probably realized at some point what everyone knew. There was no hope for him. Once more, Aina had stayed behind. She had clung for dear life to the idea of a boy that had outgrown her, ridiculous as it sounded in that precise moment. Anna sighed to herself, finding the whole situation rather underwhelming. She didn't even react to Bearbith's approach. The so-called golem expert cut a small gap on Anna's trouser leg. Oh no.
Now, face the irrefutable proof. Look at
Oh no.
this. Wait, where are its joints? Maybe the other leg.
Oh my god.
No? Over there?
Oh goodness.
Oh,
Oh
very
no. Oh
anatomically
my
correct.
god, you pervert. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, there it is. A fine scene. Oh goodness. Scene by scene. Well. Yeah, you deserves it, to say the least. Well. Oh, wow, look at those. Well, perhaps there was still hope for Adder. Oh, God.
I really don't know what to say. Part
Squick.
of me wants to yell something like, I expected better from you, son. But I'm all about standing up for the little guy. You're all tiny to me, after all.
I see what you did there.
But against all evidence pointing to the contrary, Aina is very much not the little guy in any situation. Ever. And even if she was, you really should be a little wiser about who you pick fights with.
How was I supposed to know that that asshole son of a beast was Lord or whatever?
Oh, God.
Hey, we don't use that language here.
That's how we call them pervs that don't respect a lady back in my town.
Making mothers the subject matter is not respecting ladies.
The patron insults Miles all the time, and I ain't never seen you complain.
And since when's that senile desert shrub a role model?
Oof. Oh, there we are. Poor Anna, just waiting outside.
What in the name of the Hatsa are you laughing about now?
Quit hollering, she don't know what's going on. Aina, I'm here. Just let me go with her.
My goodness.
Oh no, you're not going anywhere. I keep my guards well behaved, and I expect no less from the citizens, Adder. Mindless violence is not the solution to your problems. But you knew this already.
Adder let his head rest against the bars that covered a small window in the door, making sure to give Ilgrub his meanest look.
Look, I'm sure this is all just some big misunderstanding. I know Burbin. His train of thought is a bit weird at times, sure, but he's not a bad kid. There has to be an explanation for this.
He ain't got nothing to...
Kid, I can barely understand a word you're saying. You're gonna stay here thinking of what you've done until Burbith wakes up. If he wakes up.
Oh no.
Come on, Aina. It's time for you to go home.
Oh boy. Anna gave Ilgrub a very meaningful look.
Fine. You can wait for him in the entrance. But I swear by Ayamai that I'll rake you across the coals if I find a single brick out of place in Addersal when I'm back. Are we clear?
Anna nodded eagerly. Ilgrub gave her a dubious look, but he seemed to be in too much of a hurry to make sure she'd stay put. Break into Addersal or actually keep a promise for once. We're gonna break into Addersal because it gets good from here. Too bad Ilgrub forgot to say anything about the cell's window. Anna took a brief look into the room from the outside. To the city's guard's credit, the dungeon was actually considerably nicer than Gyoff's house and definitely safer. No beast or Macador would find Adder there. It didn't take Anna much effort to bend the iron bars and sneak her little body in through its window.
Aina!
Saving the day. Hey, Sandra. May have missed some good scenes. Adder didn't waste a second. He immediately threw his arms over Anna and began smothering her with the half-incomprehensible cries that were most likely meant to be reassuring. They soon derailed into some sort of lecture. Wait, if you want to know more about Anna, it's the other option. Do we really? I mean, we've gone back once already, and I mean, I've seen what the other one does. You can reference episode 6. Oh, in any case, you're going to get a different scene. So, yeah, I guess we can settle with this for now. You can always come back to this on another day and try for like the other options. So let me just go back and save it first. So it's so dark, it's black. Overwrites. So resume, and we're gonna continue with breaking into Adder's cell. So skip some lines. Anna. I didn't waste a second and began smothering her with half incomprehensible cries that were most likely meant to be reassuring. They soon derailed into some sort of lecture. So, yes, we're going to go through with this for now. And if I have time and I have nothing else to do with my other games, we'll try some of the alternate routes for this Hayseed night, or the alternate choices.
By 3 and all smoke, guys. I ain't never going back to the tavern with you, man.
Adder hugged her with a force that would have destroyed anyone else's ribcage for a good 10 minutes. But Anna didn't have the heart to stop him. When he finally pulled away, his nose was running and his face all wet.
Anyway, I'm glad to see that piece of crap didn't hurt you. That knife looked so sharp that I couldn't help but... Wait, didn't Illigram just tell you to stay the hay out of here? Aw,
Not again. Adder took a hand to his face, babbling about the trouble she was gonna drag him into. It was only then that Anna noticed something that was different, not just on Adder, but... or just in Adder, but on Adder as well. A hand-shaped dark mark on Adder's chest that was most definitely not there last time she got a good look at Adder's chest. Of course, Adder noticed that she noticed.
What's this? Poison! Oh, no! Bearbeth must have cut me! Oh, praise the gods I ain't dead!
Anna made it clear that he was about to be very dead if he didn't begin spilling the beans.
I really thought it was just a burn.
A hand-shaped burn? Adder didn't seem to be lying, but he clearly wasn't telling the truth either. Anna expected the mark up close. Long, slim fingers and a small palm. It clearly couldn't belong to a deer. Lacking excuses to do so as often as she'd like to, Anna put her hand on his chest just to be sure that it couldn't be one of her kind either. Which of course left one people and one girl.
Maybe the 3 are punishing.
Anna took another look at the mark. She had it on good authority that divine punishments didn't look like that. It looked more like a brand. Someone had marked Adder as their own. A Sephi, perhaps? No, that would be preposterous. Anna's mind wandered right back to the gazelle that ran past her in that alley, gracefully shifting her weight to keep her balance on ankles that were all too thin for her body. Gyoff had made it clear that he thought it had to be her. And perhaps in a remote part of whatever remained of her soul, Anna was all too eager to call some random gazelle a witch. Anna closed her hand around the mark on Adder's chest. Get your hands off my lad, fat ass indeed.
Any ideas, boss?
Her gaze returned to Adder. His face was very red as she'd totally forgotten to remove her hand from his chest. Anna took 2 fingers to her forehead and then bit them.
Yeah. They're punishing me for being a horn eater.
That just couldn't be. Guff wouldn't be covered in markings otherwise. And there's an image she'd rather forget. Someone else, someone out there saying that Adder was hers, that he'd forget Aina. Someone that had managed to get closer to him than Aina ever had, even when she was by his side every single day. Adder and Aina shared a brief, doubtful look. Aina's face went red for some reason she couldn't comprehend. She took her horns to her forehead once more.
Yes, boss. Horn eater.
Aina was trembling slightly. She began poking Adder's face, laughing in that mean way of hers as she called him a horn eater over and over.
Boss, quit that. I'm all done fighting today.
Aina kept hitting her forehead against him, getting more and more frustrated. She wanted him to understand. She didn't know what, so she needed him to understand it for her. He finally grabbed her by the shoulders, stopping her. He brought his face right in front of hers and looked at her with decision.
Aina, you okay? Are you trying to tell me something?
She wouldn't have known how to put her feelings to words even if she had been able to. Kiss him or headbutt him. Let's put it to a quick little vote, but I am leaning towards one position personally. So, is she a golem? No, she's just an albino doe. It's just that she looks like a golem, which is like something they use in like wartime supposedly in this world, where it's like kind of like the equivalent of like scarecrows or something. Hence the white appearance. So yes, kiss him or headbutt him. I'll give you guys a minute. Girl, kiss your mans. Everybody wants that kiss. And that is my decision that I want. Even Sandra's cheering on the group. Just do it already, you fool. It wasn't fair that someone else had kissed at her. She needed to cast her shame away, and perhaps if she got a little closer, maybe they wouldn't have any need for words. Oh my goodness! That is an image. That better be in the gallery. Armed with her courage, Aina went ahead and kissed him. Oof. Oof. This is good. Oh! Oh, so sad. Flat out rejected. Or that's what she intended to do at least. Aina was so nervous that she had forgotten deer customs altogether. Oof. Given some time, perhaps, they could have even come to discuss that small cultural barrier, but Aina and Adder didn't have time to say another thing. A key began hitting and everything but the lock, marking the end of her visit.
Adder, please tell me you're still there!
Illograb nearly slammed Adder's cell door open. He finally stopped saying Adder upon seeing said boy calmly sitting on the bench.
Hey there, lad. I have some good news and some bad news. Which do you want to hear first?
Alright, we've pretty much hit the end at this point. So, Let me just check what I have saved. Okay, it was just before the decision of breaking in or not, but... Alright, so... I kind of like this decision, though, that we had, so... Yeah. It's pretty much going to be the end here, so we're going to get through this part, and then Chapter 2 is over, and that's where this will end. So, what do we want to hear first?
The bad?
The good news is that Burbeth is alive and well. He'll wake up soon. Bad news is, you and I are gonna be taking a stroll to the marketplace.
Oh, here it is.
How's that bad?
Are you familiar with the words, attempted magnicide?
Is that like homicide? Attempted murder?
Don't worry, I'll explain on the way. Up we go!
Oh goodness, this is gonna be bad.
Hold up, what do you mean by public execution?
See guys, we ended in the best place. And there's the credits. We made it, guys. This is the end for now. Thanks a lot for playing. Now, if you don't mind, may I steal just a minute of your time to take you to the credits? Absolutely. It'll shed some light. Oh, the other option. Or make matters more confusing. Honestly, I would love to do another episode just for that. Like, it sounds like a pretty good idea. Oh, shoot. I'm missing all of your description here while I'm reading your comment in the live chat. So, check our... So, basically, support our Patreon, and... so I can continue working on the Hayseed Night. Amen to that. Version 1.4. Why can't I... oh, dang it. Good going, me. About? Yep, the credits are still here. Alright. I'm trying to work the... There we go, the stupid thing. This is such a weird scroll bar. I would think you would have to click on the bar itself, but... Oh, now we can. Good going, me. I can do this. So, French translation, Spanish translation, and voice direction. Okay. Benjamin Beziat. Trying to think of the French pronunciation for that, but these are the people. So let me slowly go through them so you guys can take note of them in case you're curious. Slowly go through the credits. What the hell is Manicide? Or Magnicide it was. But, yeah. I'm assuming it's attempted homicide. So... Geography. Stan. That seems like such a good... That seems like somebody who would voice act at her. Stan. Oh no. Once I let go of the stupid... there we go. I'm back. Illigrub the Merchant. Travis. Alright. Let's see. Bearbeth was Tim Lewis. Okay. Oh, I'm just curious. And then Anna, of course, is Sandra. I don't think we met Zhao. Maybe we did. Barkeep. The Wench. Young Guard. Old Guard. Extra Merchant. Apprentice. Mob. And then just Bob also. 2 people for the mob. Alright, just had to check something. Music. Rumelage. Turku Nomads of the Silk Road. Turku Nomads of the Silk Road. Oh. We'll have Nomads of the Silk Road here. Cool. I'm very unfamiliar with that because I'm not the best with knowing a lot of music, but it's really cool. Yeah, got a lot from one person. And then Corbin Hill. It's a killing. Oh, basically it's killing a public authority. Oh, so it's like homicide, attempted homicide for important people. Because they're more important than us. Zhao's the Go Girl. Oh, yeah. I didn't introduce her. Okay. And yeah, you too would go to jail for punching a politician, for example. As much as we want to punch some politicians, we don't. Or at least some of us don't. So sound effects, body falls, various sound effects. Cool. Special thanks. Special thanks to Nathan Baker for proofreading and to Alejandro Garcia for helping me exporting audio once and again for having to bear my incessant rambling about this story for a whole year now. Aw, that's so nice. And then the $10 Patreons are there, so this is the end of it pretty much. We are 2 hours and 35 minutes into it, and we ended at a perfect time for me, or at least we ended the route at a perfect time for me because in an hour I have to go to work. My real job. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, guys. I was going to save this like last hour for the following episode, but I'm so glad we did here, so at least we can kind of just, you know, world explore and just kind of mess around with the other stuff at this point. I feel like the other games will probably update sometime this month, so I'll probably not have enough time to completely start like a new route for my other games. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. So, the $10 Patrons, I've left them pretty much here for a good amount of time, so not gonna go through all of them, but we'll read the end. P.S. Tis just a demo, so hey, better keep up with development. So, back to the main menu. Well, guys, this was a lot of fun. You can also fail it if you don't have enough points? Really, there's points. I did not even pay attention to that. That's so crazy. Well, I mean, I think we did enough to like pry at her and stuff for that. Does this mean my episode 6 like route that I went on, the one where Anna actually talks, does that mean we didn't get enough points, or did we get like enough points but we just chose different things to make it line up like that? Because it seems like that was also a pretty good ending from what I got. Secret points I only know about. That's the thing about these games, is like some people are like, oh, I don't want my stories to be all points based and about, oh, you make this decision points. I think points can be really well like implied in a game or well used in a game like this. Like you do enough good things, as long as it's not obvious like, oh, I gave like 10 presents to my potential boyfriend or girlfriend and now they love me because of that. Now, like making your decisions, like important decisions like this, like points, and making them so discreet like that, I think this does a good job with that. Like I feel like games can do a really good job with like a point system for decisions or how things end up with like people latching onto you, because relationships are kind of like that. We kind of internally keep points, but like kind of informally. Well, shoot. You got like enough but not enough. I think I got enough on the last one, like the one that was like way back in my version 3 version that I played or whatever, but you got 2 points for telling Aina about Sep. Good going, yourself. Pat myself on the back. And then going with Yoff. It's not straightforward. Yeah, I mean, these decisions feel natural for points. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm kind of doing convoluted point stuff like I must go on enough dates or compliment Adder X amount of times. They feel very logical to the story. There's a long ramble about how I'm okay with a point system for my games and might even want to do that myself or if I make a game. Like, even Tennis Ace technically does that a little bit, I think. Like, they do something where they do this thing where it's like the character select days, you can only play like up to 10 of them, or else the game basically like ends on you. It's like game over and you get this like negative route and it's like an all black screen just describing how all this stuff didn't really work out. So people have different ways. Oh, Ramsey-san Hello, Ramsey, whoever you are. I think you're a newcomer to this channel. But this is pretty much the end of what I got for my channel right now. Go support Sandra's Patreon and everything for Hayseed Night. It's really good. And Sandra also has a Twitter, so it's pretty much Sandra MJ Dev, I think, on Twitter. So go follow them there. And yeah, I pretty much don't really have much else to say. I mean, this is a good game. I really like it, and it's kind of like a breath of fresh air compared to playing Tennis Ace or After Class. And well, it's also different than a Dasher in some ways too. Like, it's not as like extremely crazy of a concept like a Dasher is, but like I said, a breath of fresh air compared to all the other games. It's unique in its own way, but it's like not something I feel overwhelmed by. And yeah, thanks again, Sandra, for tuning in with us. And yeah, other than that, I have nothing else to say. I'll just keep going in circles for like 10 more minutes if I just keep saying, well, that's the end of the video. So thanks again, guys, so much for watching. You can follow my Twitter. I have 2 Twitter accounts, you know. My Dirk the Red Pand 1 links to the other one, so you can check out both. Pick which one you like. And yeah, support all the games' Patreons. All my videos have their games' Patreons in the link, or their itch.ios, so you can support all these games through that, and yeah, click their links and follow them there too. So that's all I got for today. And until next time, take care, guys.